you'll get the cue from Jeff to actually start for radio.
Thank you.
1 minute. And go ahead.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Facebook. For those of you who are joining us via that media, we are getting prepared for today's community coronavirus Q&A presented by AVC News and Surgeon Construction. I'm Bill Kassler, and joining me via Zoom today, Dr. Edward Colby, Commissioner Dave Wilson, and Mayor Tom Orr, along with Wendy Elliott, CEO of Southeastern Med. We're going to be getting underway here in just a few moments, so bear with us as we prepare to join live radio. Good afternoon and welcome to today's Community Coronavirus Q&A Forum presented by AVC News and Surgeon Construction. They are leading the way in commercial and industrial construction. I'm Bill Kassler. I'd like to introduce our panel today. They're familiar faces at this time. Dr. Edward Colby, Health Commissioner and Medical Director for the Guernsey County Health Department, Guernsey County Commissioner Dave Wilson, Cambridge Mayor Tom Moore, and the new CEO of Southeastern Med, Wendy Elliott. Thanks to you all for taking some time today to join us. And we're doing this a little bit differently today and to observe some social distancing. We're doing this via Zoom. But again, I know you all have busy schedules and a lot to do. So we do appreciate you taking time with us and the community today. We're going to get ready to get underway here. And as we start, we're going to do something just a little bit different today. We're going to provide all of the people that are on our forum with a little bit of a chance to get on their soapbox to address some of the issues that they would like to talk about regarding this pandemic. And we're going to start off with a man I'm pretty well familiar with, been working with him for about nearly 20 years now, our Commissioner, Dave Wilson. And David, you had an important issue to discuss. And when you and I talked about it, I completely agreed. It is something that we talked about last time, but it should be talked about again.
Yeah, Bill, and I appreciate the opportunity to do this because with all that's going on, we all need to remember we're still in the middle of the March 17th primary. And obviously, we're far beyond March 17th now. But April 28th is now the key day. But the big emphasis is that there will be no in-person voting. So all April 28th is a deadline for the submission of mailed-in ballots, but there's a procedure that everybody has to follow on this. And again, this is something that was determined by the Ohio General Assembly and signed into legislation in late March. Voters must send for an application. You get an application by submitting a request to the Guernsey County Board of Elections. Several ways to get that. You can call the Board of Elections at 740-432-2680, or you can search Board of Elections, Guernsey County Board of Elections online, or if you have any remnants of a phone book, if you look in the government section under county government, you'll find the number there. Also, you can even drop them a line if you'd like to Guernsey County Board of Elections at 627 Wheeling Avenue in Cambridge. And you can also visit their website, and that is boe.guernseycounty.gov. And then you can actually print your own application at that point. Now, they won't take any applications by email or by fax. And the reason for that is that any application needs to have what we're referring to as a wet signature, an original signature. And that's the same thing, will serve the same purpose as when you go to the polls and you sign in. That is basically your virtual sign-in, but it has to be there and has to be there in ink. Now, you can choose a political party ballot, either Democrat or Republican, for the election. If you go for an issues-only option, there are only 4 precincts in Guernsey County that actually have an option on the primary ballot. So you have to keep that in mind as well. Now, once you have your application, and you have it submitted, you will then by mail get your ballot. Then what do? You fill out the ballot. You can mail it in to the address that will be indicated at 627 Wheeling Avenue. We are still waiting for the actually, we're waiting for the arrival of our drop box. We have a secure drop box that's going to be out front. The security is already there. The cameras are in place. We're waiting for the box, hopefully to be delivered later today. That'll be at the County Administration Building's main entrance. Now, in the meantime, you can come into the admin building. We have a deputy there every day from 8 until 4 to receive your ballot as well. And there is a secure area that ballot will be placed in. Now, I want to emphasize that voting by mail is safe, and your Board of Elections is bipartisan. So there will be both a Democrat and a Republican present for each ballot that is counted. And I'll tell you something, any evidence at all of tampering is taken very seriously. So this is something that's going to be very judiciously scrutinized, the entire process. And you may like to know that we have passed, according to the director of the Board of Elections, Lori Banfield, who, by the way, she and her staff doing a spectacular job in the midst of all this chaos that they are funneling into order. She let me know that we have now passed 4,000 ballots issued. That counts early voting. So 4,000 ballots have been accounted for, either distributed or in the hands of the BOE now. And that's a pretty decent mark at this point. But we have over 23,000, in fact, 23,523 registered voters to be exact. So we've got a ways to go to get everybody in here. But it's still a democracy, and we thank God for that. So exercise your democratic right as an American citizen and get those votes in. If you have any question at all, give them a call at the Board of Elections. Again, the number is 740, of course, 432-2680, 432-2680. Bill, thank you.
Yeah, and Dave, I want to add a little bit of something to that. This is based on something that the Lieutenant Governor John Husted said just yesterday. He was talking about the fact that with the application project, please do not hesitate. Get that application filled out. Get this process started as soon as possible so you get your vote in and it does count. And I think that's very important. And thank you for bringing this up.
You bet.
I'm glad to hear again.
And the timing factor, you know, it takes a while because, you know, when you drop it in the box, it goes to Columbus before it goes downtown. So you got to move things along quickly for your vote to count.
Again, thank you, Dave. And we're going to move on now to the new kid on the block, Wendy Elliott, the CEO of Southeastern Med. And Wendy, you had a few different things that you wanted to talk about that concern the hospital that you've observed.
I do. Thanks, Bill. First of all, I'd like to say thanks for hosting this. I think this is a very important forum for the community to get information about this pandemic, and I appreciate being included. I'd like to give a shout out to all of the people that work here at Southeastern Med and United Ambulance and Superior Med. We've got a great group of dedicated professionals. This has been a really difficult time for all of them. The work has been very hard, and I'm sure Dr. Colby would agree. For anybody in the healthcare industry, this is unprecedented times, but they come to work and are putting plans and processes in place to be able to take care of you safely, whether you are COVID positive or you just need your gallbladder out. And so we are very well prepared for all of that, and you should take advantage of that, Mayor, or just put a mask on, which was good for him. We also have something new. It's the hotline itself is not new. It is the COVID hotline. It is 740-435-COVID, COVID. We've got that staffed, and if you've got questions that you need answered, please give that a call. They are working with physicians to have that staffed so that if you don't have a primary care physician and you think you've got symptoms, you can call that number and get some screening advice as well. So again, I appreciate you hosting this, and I'll turn it over to the next individual.
All right. Thank you so much, Wendy. And we're going to move along to a man who is never at a loss for words, even when he's masked. Mayor Tom Orr. And Mayor Orr, I know that you like to shoot from the hip a little bit, but I know that you've been out on the streets a little bit, and you're probably hearing a lot of different things. What concerns does the city have with this pandemic?
Oh, wow. What concerns don't we have? might be a shorter list. It's a little bit of everything. Our job's got a whole lot crazier. Just the complexity, the changing. We have last week declared a fiscal emergency for our city, and that's still ongoing on what phases we're going to take there. Put our police force on 12-hour shifts, better coverage, more people overlap. Basically, things have done about as good as we could expect. We're going to have to trim some staffing here maybe in the future and still deliver the same amount of services. So anytime you take 2 months out of 12 in a business world, you're going to cause a little drama. And that's if it's only 2 months. They go into a third. Let's not even talk about that. But as a mayor and the town we love, it's been an ever-changing thing. One of the things I want to reach out while I have a moment, because I haven't been able to get out as much as I'd like to, and I do want to thank AVC for hosting this because it's huge. There's been a lot of families lose, I get emotional about it, but loved ones over the last couple of months, 6 weeks. And to watch that happen and only allow 10 people to go to a funeral in the mourning process. And we're in Easter weekend. This is Good Friday today. And it's just ironic that we're on here. And we've added a few verses in our other hostings here in the last couple of weeks. And I just want to say to everybody out there, truly regroup, be thankful, hug your family, say a prayer for the right reasons, and we're going to overcome this thing. And a lot better days. We're still working on things out there. Clark Street's still gone. The King Valley House is building on. Southeastern Med's got the cancer building going on, and nurses are nursing. And CEO hit it right on the head, Wendy. Watching the workforce go to work, I have an inside scoop there, a couple of them actually, and watching them go in and put them hours in there, doing what they're doing, and they're nervous. I mean, but it's working, and the distance is working. Our leadership high up have been doing a pretty good job, but it's difficult. We're a people that like to get out there and mingle and know each other. And you go to the restaurant in the morning, get a cup of coffee. They used to gather 4 or 5 around the table. Now they're out in the parking lot leaning on the car. I don't know how the distancing's really going, but hey, whatever works. Mowing some grass out there, and that's a sign of spring. So I'll quit rambling on, but hopefully not be long, and I'll be on the radio doing things like raising money for Boomerama. So that might be interesting too, based on the fact I haven't done any work in the last couple of months. So one day at a time, stay aggressive, and let's be ready to come out of the gate stronger than we were before.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate that as always. And I want to move on. Saved for last, probably one of the men who's probably one of the most visible men in town at this point, Dr. Edward Colby, Health Commissioner and Medical Director for the Guernsey County Health Department. And Dr. Colby, I know that you've got quite a few things you probably would like to address, but what's the chief issue that you're seeing out there that you want to talk about today?
I want to first of all say thanks to AVC and Surgeon for sponsoring this. I think this is quite beneficial to get information out to people. From the health department perspective, we've been working long hours. There are some really dedicated people working there. There's a 24/7 access to the health department. They take calls all hours of the day and evening. The biggest thing is, of course, we've got 2 cases, 4 confirmed, and I'll talk about that how to put in a second. So it seems to me that Southeast Ohio is now starting to see some positive cases. So over the next 2 to 3 weeks is going to be crucial, I think, that we really be mindful of the social distancing. Don't take it for granted that this thing is over yet. I think we're heading in the right direction, but we certainly still need to respect social distancing, stay-at-home order, safe hand washing, that type of thing. And then basically how things are reported now are different. the state of Ohio now wants us to report all confirmed cases, which means they have a positive test confirming they have COVID, and what is now considered probable cases. So that would be a close contact with somebody with COVID or suspected COVID that meets criteria based on symptomatology. Those are going to be recorded by the state as listed as probably positive. So the numbers are going to be different. We at the health department at 2 p.m. post all our positive results, but only confirmed positive results will be posted. State will report positive and probable cases. So you're going to see discrepancy in those numbers. So just keep that in mind. Not that we're trying to hide anything from anybody. That's just how this process works. And I do want to say the hospital's been an excellent resource to work with. We keep in close contact with their infectious disease person. So there's continuing effort between all the first responders. Everybody's doing a great job. Next 2 to 3 weeks is going to be a little crucial. I would just hope that everybody stays mindful, and God willing, we'll get through this just fine.
Yeah, and you bring up an excellent point. Just listening to the governor here over the last few days, one of the things they're emphasizing now is that the ramp up seemed like it was pretty long, but they say that the ramp down, basically when we withdraw from this, it may be even longer. So we probably have a while to go, maybe not with a stay-at-home order, but with our ramp down and a lot of social restrictions. Would that be correct, Ed?
Yeah, I think so. I think hopefully in the not too distant future, you'll see some of these restrictions ease up. But for now, I think everything is going the way it should be going, and we need to maintain that effort.
Okay, thank you very much. And I want to thank you all. Some good input right there. Let's move on to some questions. And our people were all sitting at home, not all of them, but most of them are sitting at home in the county. So they've been busy. They provided us with another good list of questions. Some of these are repeated, but they bear repeating. So let's start off with this one. What government and non-government organizations are engaged in community assistance in the pandemic, and where can citizens find a list of these programs? This would include things like wellness checks, facilities testing those who are ill, delivering food and medicines to shut-ins, etc. That comes in from Al E.
Bill, I'll go ahead and at least start off on that. First, I can tell you what's happening with the Guernsey County Senior Center. They have done a lot with the leadership of their executive director, there's Sean Gress. The Senior Center and Meals on Wheels Guernsey County have prepared 15,000 emergency meals, which I'm just trying to wrap my head around that. And they're going to be fully distributed to 1,000 seniors in Guernsey County. And it goes beyond just the food content, and it's particularly valuable to these people since many of them really haven't left their homes since this whole pandemic has gotten underway. The purpose of this is to assure that each Meals on Wheels senior has a 15-day supply of emergency meals. Now, in addition, each one's going to receive, and listen to this, I think this is great, a loaf of homemade raspberry white chocolate bread that has been baked by the kitchen staff cooks there at the Senior Center. And that's a very, very talented group, I might add. And they're doing that as a special Easter holiday treat. They're including an individually wrapped roll of toilet paper, an activity packet, a box of tissues, body wash or soap, and educational flyers regarding the COVID-19 pandemic. And they will still, on top of that, continue to deliver hot meals on a daily basis. In addition to that, senior transportation is still available, and that's on a Monday through Friday basis from 7:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Saturdays from 8 until 1. Now they'll do weekdays after 5 p.m., but that's limited to dialysis patients by appointment only. And I want to remind people, this is all made possible by you, the voters of Guernsey County, that have passed both the senior services levies as well as the Meals on Wheels levy. And that's going to be coming up for your consideration once again in the not so distant future. So I want you to be mindful of what's in action right now. United Way of Guernsey, Noble, and Monroe counties, they are very heavily involved right now. I talked to Stephanie Lobby yesterday. She said the United Way has been working with people helping people of Guernsey County. And that group has also assisted some at the senior center, I should mention. But they're continuing to assist our county's vulnerable non-senior residents. They're helping with shopping, pickup, and delivery of groceries. And this service has been used extensively over the past month. And while the residents still pay for the groceries, those that qualify for the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, they can now use their SNAP debit cards online. Stephanie also told me that 211 is now activated in Guernsey County. You can call 211 to get information regarding assistance available locally. Now, since we don't have our 211 service set up for us exclusively in Guernsey County, through the United Way, we have joined a number of neighboring counties in a partnership with 211, and that is all tied into an existing 211 service in Licking County. So when you call 211, you're going to be asked what county you're in. That's why. They won't know that automatically. And now, also, because the service is still ramping up, we do have some dead spots in the county. So if your 911 call doesn't go through, you've got an alternative. And there's a toll-free number. And that number is 800-544-1601, 800-544-1601. Also, and by the way, the information that I'm going through here are going to work to get that on our website as soon as possible. United Way, by the way, has also started a COVID-19 relief fund, still in its early stages, in need of financial support. If you'd like to contribute, please call the United Way office at 740-439-2667, 439-2667. And you can do that Monday through Friday between 9 and 5. You can stop by their office in the Berwick building in downtown Cambridge. That's at 611 Wheeling Avenue. And I wasn't able to make connection with the folks at the Salvation Army, but Stephanie tells me that they're very involved in terms of getting meals together for people as well, or collecting food items and that type of thing. So we've got a number of efforts within the county that are going on outside, both within and outside of the public sector. So it's pretty encouraging, I think.
It is. And Wendy, I want to give you another opportunity to give us that phone number you talked about. Again, it bears repeating. If you could talk about that just for a second.
So our public COVID hotline number is 740-435-COVID, COVID. You can get answers to questions. If you just want to go through a screening process, you can do that as well. I know the health department also has people on standby to answer questions, and they're getting lots of calls as well.
Yeah, and Dr. Colby, if you could cover that, please.
Yeah, I mean, the health department certainly is available 24/7. Somebody's always available to answer questions or assist with, doing follow-up. A lot of the contact, follow-up is being done by us. As a matter of fact, all of it is. So if there's any questions, concerns, if you call, somebody will call you back.
Okay, Meryl, or anything to add there?
Well, I don't want to be left out on that. You can call us too, and I'll tell you which one of you guys to call. No, but at the same time, and we do that a lot. People are lost in all the phone numbers, all the websites. So it's okay. You call our city offices, and one of my assistants or so will point you in the right direction.
All right, thank you. And let's move on to our next question now. This one probably, it has Dr. Colby's name on it, I think. What precautions are being taken at nursing homes in the county? Are they adequately supplied with what they need to protect employees and residents?
Yeah, that's a good question. One of the things that we do, and actually I do myself daily, is we call the nursing homes extended care facilities, which would include assisted living, to check on the status of the residents as well as the employees to make sure they're doing well, there's no outbreaks. So far, knock on wood, everybody's doing good. And most of them, we check and ask, they have plenty of, they have adequate PPE for now. I think they're all limiting visitors. So they're doing all they can. Patients that are symptomatic. I believe they're putting masks on, but so far nobody's been really sick. So we've been fortunate.
But thank you. Anybody else have anything else to add on that one?
I will add that we have here at Southeastern Med have also worked with our long-term care partners, and we are going on site to test for them now, which also helps with community spread, keeps their residents in place, and they don't have to get out and come to the hospital to be tested. So that's a new development as well.
And Bill, if I can go ahead and add, since Country View is as a county entity and it's supported by levy dollars, I talked to Adrienne Payton, the administrator there, and she said they continue to screen everybody that comes in, screening questions, taking temperatures. If they show any signs, they return home. They can't come back until they've seen a doctor or urgent care and they have an okay there. In addition, nobody is coming in. There are no visits. Everybody that comes in and out is strictly staff only. They are cleaning high-touch areas a minimum of twice a shift. Only medicine can be brought in. They're not letting anything else come in for the residents, but medication can be brought in and then it is wiped down before it is distributed. Window visits are encouraged, and windows have to stay closed, but that's being done on a regular basis. Plus, they are facilitating online meetings through FaceTime, Messenger, Skype, whatever the application is there. And they're social distancing as much as possible, and they have they've had to eliminate all group activities, which is a shame, but it's necessary. And the staff is masked at all times, and they're constantly using hand sanitizer and using gloves as warranted. So that's what's happening at Country View, your county health.
All right, and thank you very much. Let's move on to our next question, a very popular topic. We go back to testing, and we talked about this some last week. Testing just difficult right now. Question goes, there are now just 4 confirmed cases of COVID-19 in Guernsey County. Is that because people aren't able to get tested here? That comes out from Lindsay F.
I'll jump in real quick on that, and then maybe Wendy can pick up. I think our testing currently is adequate. Remember that, if you have symptoms and you don't have a lot of risk factors, a lot of people are being told to stay at home. Let's see how they do. So we're certainly not testing everybody. We're testing for sure people that are high risk or they've become acutely ill. But I think testing is readily available in this area. The delay is getting results, and that's not just a problem we have. That's everywhere. It'd be nice if it was 10-minute test you can do in the office like we do for influenza, but that's not the case. It would make everybody's life a lot easier. But I just think we're fortunate. I mean, right now we only have 4 cases. That's not to say there won't be more, but I don't think it's due to lack of testing. I just think everybody's doing their role, social distancing, and hopefully those numbers won't grow too much.
I think you are absolutely correct, Dr. Colby. We have been testing since day one virtually. We've got a tent outside the emergency department. We have the supplies and media available to test anyone who meets criteria and comes with a physician's order, and have all along. Dr. Colby's right. Testing results have tightened down and gotten a little shorter than they did initially, and we talked a little bit about that last week. As we send results to ODH or test to ODH as well as Ohio Health, those times we saw a shrink, but now as ODH's volume has increased as well as the local hospitals, we've seen a little bit of lengthening of those times, but it still is much shorter and a few days where it used to be over a week.
Okay, thank you both. Next question. This would go out to anybody who's on the floor there. We have family who wintered in Arizona. They want to drive back, but they heard they need to be quarantined for 14 days if they come back to Ohio. Is that true? And if so, will they be quarantined in their own home? That comes out from Eleanor.
I mean, the governor himself said that two weeks ago, I believe. Yeah, if you travel in, you're in your own home for 14 days. he asks that you do that. That's something that's on the record right now.
But I do believe that that is the policy right now. So if you come back in from out of state after a long trip, you will be quarantined for 14 days. And I do believe that it is at home. So let's move on to our next question. And then Wendy, this has your name written all over it. Does the hospital continue to have enough protective gear for their staff?
Yes, I will not get into specific numbers, but Incident Command meets every morning, and one of the report outs is our supply levels for personal protective equipment. And as of now, we are well suited and well stocked, thanks to the commissioners as well as several other businesses that have contributed. We also are participating with Battelle's re-sterilization process within 95s, and that's helped throughout the state as well as the nation in personal protective equipment. So yes, we are well supplied at this point.
Okay, we're going to change gears a little bit here. I believe, Dave, you might want to pay close attention here. What precautions are currently being taken at the Guernsey County Jail to prevent the spread of COVID-19?
Okay, Bill, we touched on some of this last week, but I do have some to add to that. When entering the building, period, everyone undergoes the self-check screening, temperatures taken. So that's the standard. The jail now has a medical check-in. So if anyone taken into custody exhibits any symptoms at all, they must first be cleared by Southeastern Med before incarceration. Maintenance and corrections officers, they sanitize the facility every 2 hours, and also the correction officers check inmates' health every hour. In addition, the jail does have a full-time nurse on duty during day shift, Monday through Friday, with part-time nurses covering second shift and weekends. And the jail also has a doctor on call at all times, and the doctor is also physically at the jail 1 day per week. And one note right now, since the jail population is down significantly right now, and it's been to the point that the correction officers have been able to relocate inmates within the jail, and that's allowed for needed repairs and maintenance. And as part of that effort, an area has now been prepared and set aside for quarantine just in case that becomes necessary. But as it stands now, everybody's healthy.
Thank you so much. And that's good to know. A lot of controversy over prisoners and people that are basically confined in close quarters. Hey, I want to take a quick break here. And again, thank our sponsor, Surgeon Construction. Please like them on Facebook or online at Surgeon Construction, surgeon.construction. I'll get it right. Give me a little bit of time. Let's move on now to another question. And this would probably be going out to both the mayor and Commissioner Wilson. The question reads, with the city of Cambridge in fiscal emergency and now furloughing some workers for 1 day a week, how will city services be impacted? And the second part of that question, is the county considering a similar policy? Mayor Orr, you first, please.
Yes. Make a long story short, absolutely. We looked at our books and where we're at right now and extending the tax from April to July. When that started coming into the pipeline, and also not turning off water and extending things, payments have just slowed. I believe we'll catch up eventually, but it's making some real serious difficulty out there. I think we're one of the ones that are being real early on this. I think every government's going to see some phase of this at some point. They can deny it if they want to, and I'm not saying anything particular, Dave, or anything, you guys, we work closely together. But it's our way right now, systematically. We got a finance committee meeting this Wednesday night, which will go to executive session, and we're going to storm through some things because it's going to be all for one, or we're going to have to choose a different plan. But that's my recommendation. I don't want to see them lose their insurance. And we have to keep up vital city services. Now, back to that question, absolutely services will stay consistent. We have a plan. They'll be furloughed 8 hours, and we'll rotate, still keep the majority of our crews intact. It's going to cause some difficulty. One thing you might see in the month of June and I pray we're not still doing this then, but again, we're in our growing season right now, so we'll have no part-time laborers this summer. That'll be the first time in 12 years I've been here. So you take 15 kids with weed whackers and lawnmowers and take them off the street, things are going to look a little bushy at times. But that's what the citizens are going to have to come back and help us a little bit. So there's going to be there's no sense in polishing over this thing. It's tough, and it's going to get a little tougher. Hopefully get back to work and deal from a different angle. But right now we're sitting home looking out the window watching the redbirds and robins build nests. That gets old real quick, but we'll go from there.
Dave, is the county considering a similar policy in any way at this time?
Well, before I address what the county is doing, I need to explain why steps would be needed in the first place. As directed by the Ohio Revised Code, the county commissioner's responsibilities for the administration of what's referred to as the county's general fund. And as a result, that's where our primary attention has got to be focused. Now, our fiscal specialists, the people that we've got that are very, very gifted with their accounting skills, they have carefully analyzed the general fund's sources of revenue just to see what could be expected. And that would include the county's share of sales tax. And I need to point out the sales tax accounts for about 50% of the general fund budget. So that's a huge, huge item for us. In addition, the general fund receives casino revenue. There's investment income on county assets. And then you've got obviously our share of property tax. And on property tax, I want to emphasize, not to get too wonky in terms of numbers, but the county, you have the millage, the non-voted millage that's established by the Ohio Revised Code is 10 mills. And that 10 mills is divided among the county, the municipalities, the townships, the libraries. So there is a split that way. And then the rest of the property tax would be going toward schools, fire departments, fire services, cemeteries, and so on. So just to make sure we've got that. So we do have that portion that has to be analyzed. And then on top of that, there are going to be fees, administrative fees from various offices. So they calculated the estimated loss, and they considered the number of non-essential business closings, which obviously is greatly impacted sales tax. We don't know to what extent, because we're always on a 2-month lag between, this month it's what the state has reported to us from the month of February. So we're always at least 2 months behind. Bottom line, you got every casino closed. You've got all of these issues. We know what's happening with interest rates, so investments are going to be down. So what it all adds up to is that we're taking a projected hit of loss of revenue of right around a little under $3.2 million. And that doesn't include the additional spending that's COVID-19 related. So obviously we're talking about some serious dollars. Now, we're fortunate that the offices that operate within the general fund have collectively spent less than what they were appropriated in their budgets for the past 2 years. So that, along with revenue being above expectations the last 2 years, that has resulted in a cash carryover. And that carryover balance is invaluable at this point, because barring something cataclysmic at this point, we should be okay between now and the end of the year. So that's a beautiful thing. But we can't rest on that. So that's why we've advised all general fund budget offices, rather, off of the general fund budget, to eliminate all county-related travel. We've established a freeze on hiring, and that would include the replacement of anyone who leaves employment for any reason in the county, and also the elimination of any new or excessive purchasing. And then we're going to reevaluate all those factors next month to see if any further steps need to be taken. That's a long, drawn-out answer, but I want people to understand we're not just arbitrarily, pulling numbers out of the air. There's a very careful computation here, because we realize what we refer to as general fund, it's taxpayer dollars, and we need to be accountable for that. So we've got people working just to make sure that we are.
Thank you, David. Thank you, Tom, as well.
Thank you.
Next question, back to a little bit more of a medical emphasis. What happens after the governor's stay-at-home order ends and everything opens back up again? Does the coronavirus attack us and spread again?
Well, I would like to think that they're going to be very cautious in opening things up, and I think if they do, there's going to be some good sound data behind that decision. That's always a good question. Is it going to be seasonal? We don't know yet. But I would say that as things start to ramp down, it's going to be a lot safer to get out and about in the community. And we just need to trust that the Ohio Department of Health, they have good experts. We need to listen to them and hopefully follow their advice.
Yeah, and that's, I noticed they talked a little bit about Singapore basically lifting some of their restrictions, and they had a second spike. So that's what the Ohio Department of Health, Dr. Amy Acton, said that she was looking for. She wanted to make sure that things were really calmed down before they started to lift some of these restrictions. So we may have a little bit of time yet as far as being kind of under thumb, to put it mildly. So I look for that myself to keep going for just a little bit now. We hope not too long, because this is having a pretty severe financial impact on everybody. Next question, and Wendy, I think this one has your name on it. How many ICU rooms with ventilators does Guernsey County have?
So we have 8 ICU rooms, and we have plenty of ventilators. We have 5 that we were reassigned from COTS. So with our normal supply, we are well prepared to take care of any patients that would need that care here on site.
Okay, and obviously the hospital chief source of ventilators, Dr. Colby, any others throughout the county, or is Southeastern Med what we have?
I'm not aware of anything outside of Southeastern Med as far as our county. You're referring to ventilators, correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would assume that would all be located at Southeastern Med.
Okay, another question of a medical nature, and this comes out from Connie B. She wants to know, why can't the Pritchard Laughlin Civic Center be used as an overflow facility for virus patients? She says it's been sitting empty for 2 months now, and it will be sitting empty for more months to come. Surely it can be utilized for something good during this pandemic in our community.
I'd like to just jump in and say that we're quite fortunate we don't need that space right now. We don't have a lot of cases yet, and I think that's we need to realize, our hospital is relatively small when you get in the big scheme of things compared to other hospitals, and that's the main reason we really need to pay attention to the social isolation, because it would not be difficult to overburden our hospital, but that's a good thing to have, not needing that space, because that means our hospital isn't full.
It absolutely is. And I'll add, regionally, the governor has talked about the regional plans, and really for the state of Ohio, the plan for Region 7, Region 8, where we live, and Region 4, which is Central Ohio, is planning to, if we would need surge capacity. When you begin to plan for large numbers of patients, it really boils down to space, supplies, and staff. And so being able to plan regionally allows us to optimize the staff and supplies, which are typically the limiting factor in taking care of large numbers of patients that you're not used to taking care of, to make sure, as the governor said, every Ohioan has a bed if they need that. But as Dr. Colby said, luckily we've not seen that.
Thank you very much. Moving on, another question, and this listener wants to know, can a factory stay open if there is a positive test? And also, should factories lower how many people are working in the facility if there's no way that everyone is 6 feet apart?
Yeah, we've gotten several calls about that. If somebody is positive at a factory, obviously they're going to be quarantined at home. assuming they're not sick enough to be in the hospital. And then it starts, the health department will contact people that they feel are close contacts. And some of those will be instructed to maybe self-isolate. Other ones will be allowed to work, but they'll have to take the temperature, monitor themselves. If they become symptomatic, leave the place of work. I think most factories are doing their best to social distance. It's not a perfect world. I mean, some of these factories have over 100 employees per shift. So, they're doing the best they can, and they've been very good at complying so far. We get several phone calls. We do follow-ups, and what they're telling us, it seems like they're doing the right thing.
Right. Thank you, Dr. Colby. Now, here's another question, and this is an interesting one. Should a complete shutdown of businesses be ordered to take place on Sunday to keep the spread of COVID-19 down?
I'm sure Mayor Orr can answer this as well, but I don't think anybody's advocating a complete shutdown of everything. I think social distancing has its value. It's definitely working, and I don't think it benefits anybody by shutting everything down completely.
Yeah, I'll just add a little piece to that. I guess I'm a little bit on the other side, sometimes pulling the reins. I want to get back in action. Social distancing is all going fine. It really is going awesome job, everybody. It needs to be done. But I'm already looking out 2 and 3 months. The fact of the matter is we got to be ready to participate and get back to doing something. And closing anything else down, separate is working, stay the course, sanitize. If you feel comfortable, want to wear a mask, that's great. But there's a lot of people out there right now, and we happen to be some of them. Our world hasn't slowed down too much. So it is kind of weird to see those going 100 mile an hour and somebody else going 5 mile an hour. But at the same time, at least we're separating, and we're not going 50,000 in a stadium. We're not going 10, 15 people in the same little room. And there's a lot of awareness is going to come out of this thing. But shutting down Sunday, I'm getting off base. No, it's no different than any other day of the week. We need to, well, it is actually in the morning, but not in the afternoons. It's a day of rest, but not shutting down.
I think if somebody would have asked that a week ago, I might have said that's worth a consideration, when, typically your, our industrial neighbors and so on are most likely shut down on a Sunday. You would have a substantially less impact than you would have on a weekday or even a Saturday. But I think with what we're seeing, with the steps that have been taken, like Tom just said, social distancing is paying off, and you see more and more people wearing masks. I've got mine now, and people I think are taking it seriously enough that at this point we're making progress. I don't really see why I would have to take that extra step.
Okay, thank you. Next question, and this one deals with blood supplies, which they're having a lot of problems with that right now. Governor says Ohio is short on blood and to donate. Where? How? The American Red Cross in this area says they're not able to have more blood drives. One local drive was canceled this week, and another upcoming one has been completely booked. Anyone, please.
Well, can I jump in on this one? And I actually did some homework on this one. And by the way, Bill, I do appreciate you supplying the questions ahead of time so we have a chance to get answers. So I really appreciate that. I went on the website at 12:15 this afternoon, so 45 minutes before this began, and found out the 2 donation slots apparently have opened up for First Baptist Church's blood drive coming up a week from tomorrow, that at 2:15 and 2:45. So when I looked, those were all booked. So apparently they've had a couple of cancellations. But what surprised me, and I confirmed this with our pastor, there's now another blood drive scheduled at First Baptist the following Tuesday. That'll be a week from this coming Tuesday, April 23rd. And that will go from 9 until 3. And there's also a blood drive 2 days later at the Center United Methodist Church. And that'll take place from 1 until 6 p.m. at the Center Church, obviously out there on US 22. There are also blood drives scheduled in May for the Crossroads Branch Library. And Wendy, there's one at Southeastern Meta, I know, next month. I don't know if that's just for your associates or if the general public can come in.
General public.
Okay, very good to know. But one thing that they are emphasizing, all drives are by appointment only. There will be no walk-ins accepted. And all donors are asked to wear a mask. And if you don't have a mask, they'll provide one for you. So you do have those opportunities. And if you want to register, and obviously you need to do that ahead of time, you can do that online. Go to redcross.org. You click Donate Blood. They'll ask for your zip code. You enter that. You'll see the list of available bloodmobile opportunities. And you click the time, the one you want, click the time, and enter the information. It's a pretty simple process. Even a county commissioner can do it.
We can radio announcers too. So thank you for that, Dave, and thanks for the research on that. Another question here now, moving along. I've had people locally tell me they believe that they or others were sick as far back as December and January with what they believe was the coronavirus. Is that even possible? And wouldn't it have spread more rapidly before this time?
That's the heart. You're in the heart of flu season, influenza. So, it's difficult to say. I believe it was around January when this whole global thing started. So I would say it's more likely that it was something other than coronavirus, but there's no way to know for sure. Moving forward, they are going to start doing antibody testing, and I think that will shed some light because if you've had it and are asymptomatic, you're going to show antibodies. So I think moving forward in the future, you're going to see some studies that bear that out, but more than likely, November, December is probably just an influenza type thing.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Colby. And got another question, and this just in, so no chance for you to research this. Hope somebody has an answer to this. What programs are currently out there to assist people who have been denied unemployment? And I understood that that's been loosened up considerably, so I don't know about people being denied unemployment. The response may be a little slow.
I know, hypothetically, your accountant, or if you don't have an accountant, a friend, someone that's in that world might be able to shed some light. The Employment Bureau has got its own website with all the numbers. And a lot of times locally, they come out of Lima, Cleveland, things like that. They've got their websites. Again, they recommend you go there. I will say this from my own, unfortunately, I've got that happening in my world right now with my business. It's been very, very difficult. Very, very difficult. Out of 12 people trying to get into that, 2 still currently, after 3 straight weeks, has not got their first check. And that's been tough. And again, I've been trying to help them poke a hole in that, and I'm very hopeful this week. It's been proven over the years. I've been in business most of my life and seen some things, but once you get them, they'll come consistently. It's just getting that first month. When you had that big a surge hit that, I knew from the minute they went down this road, it's just been a real struggle. And for all those people out there, I'm very, very sorry to see them go through that. That's one of the reasons the city's tapping the brakes right now with the fiscal emergency. Fact of the matter is, we're going to have a head-on collision somewhere out there, and I don't want to see people lose jobs and go on unemployment. I'd rather have us all have a little bit of a sore moment together and then move on from there.
Anybody else on that? Okay, moving along, and this is an interesting question. I don't know, maybe one of our last. Comes out from Carol O. She says, I understand it's important to observe the privacy of the men and women who've contacted the virus. Her question is, why can't they let us know what area of the county the cases are in? I feel a lot of people still are not taking this seriously. Maybe if the known area of a case were released, it would possibly slow some people down and make them think twice before they go anywhere.
I can just say from a health department standpoint, we've had that discussion on more than one occasion. There is obviously the HIPAA policy. We want to preserve the patient's privacy. These people that are all positive are being checked daily by the health department via phone call, and they are staying in place. So, it's not like they're out walking around the community, the public. So, there should be no concern on that. And to give out that information, I don't think would serve any purpose. We should assume that first responders, whoever, if they roll up to a scene, whether you're law enforcement, fire department, ambulance, you just have to assume the worst and prepare, and then you'll be fine.
I would add that if I am out in public, I have to assume there are silent carriers as well.
Yeah.
It is in our community, and you just need to understand it's here and follow directions to stay home, wash your hands, and observe social distancing.
Yeah, no doubt about it. That's the most important thing right now, is to continue to observe social distancing, listen to what the governor says, listen to what the director of the Ohio Department of Health says right now. I think that right now they're talking about the fact that we possibly cut down from maybe 6,000 cases a day to somewhat like 1,600. So we are putting a dent in things, and putting a dent in it and slowing this virus down is right now the most important thing. All right, anybody else have anything to add before we wrap up? We are coming up on the time where we're going to have to close things down, because the governor is going to be coming up in about 4 minutes.
And on that note, I would like to add that, during yesterday's press conference, you could hear the protests that were going on outside. And they're being critical of the actions that have been taken by the governor. And all I can think of is, my gosh, if these actions had not been taken, how bad of a shape would we be in at this point? And especially when you see the actions that the state of Ohio has taken as being praised by so many entities across the country. It just kind of bears out that the decisions that have been made, while they were tough decisions, have been the right ones. Granted, it was, the election issue was maybe the timing could have been a little better on that one. But I think all told, it has been handled beautifully at the top at the state of Ohio. And I'm thankful for the actions that have been taken.
Particularly when you look at the state of New York and New York City in particular, it's 10 times as bad there.
And every state surrounding us is in worse shape than we're in. So that says a lot right there.
Yeah. So high praise to
Chime in on one thing.
Dr. Acton. Yes, go ahead, Tom.
I just add to that. I think the key moment where Governor DeWine really was right on it, when he knocked down the Schwarzenegger fitness thing that week, that got our attention. That was the moment. You'd had all them international people coming in here. That had got us off on a terrible start in Columbus. Now, with that all said, and I want, in closing, you said, I'm hoping Ohio High School came out with a possible schedule for spring sports, which tells me they're likely thinking of some things in the background. And I cannot begin to emphasize, in the city of Cambridge, when you drive around, you don't hear the crack of a bat or the kids giggling and riding down a sliding board. There's something wrong with that picture. Playing basketball. Our world has changed. I get all that. But we have to start showing some plans for how we're going to handle the steps going forward. And I'm hoping, praying that in the next 2 weeks, we'll hear something about how we can phase back in. And bless your heart, does anyone need a haircut here? I mean, seriously.
Pretty publicly challenged.
It ain't fair to the haircutters out there. They're taking a beating.
They are.
I'm not ready to flip out in that one.
Hey, with that and with those comments, we are going to have to wrap up today. I appreciate all of you. Again, we want to thank Jason Emsch with Surgeon Construction for sponsoring today's forum. Keep in mind, you can watch this program on demand on our ABC News Facebook page and online at yourradioplace.com. We want to say thanks again to our panel, Dr. Edward Colby, Commissioner Dave Wilson, Mayor Tom Moore, and CEO Wendy Elliott for all answering questions with us today, working hard to keep us safe. And from all of us at AVC Communication, continue to observe social distancing. Stay safe out there. We're going to get through this. Thanks again for watching.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys, I think we're all clear. Thank you very much.
Okay,
Hey, thank you, Joel.
Bye, guys.
And